And welcome back to Incredibly Everybody. I am your host, Joey, and I'm joined here today by my co-host, Ooch.
Here.
And today we are looking at Marvel 2028, What's Coming. This week, Marvel put out they had 3 new dates for movies coming up in the year 2028 after the slate of Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, being that of February 18th, May 5th, and November 10th. I think those are normally like around the same time that Marvel releases movies, so it looks to be good. What I want to do today is kind of speculate. We love speculation.
Yes, we
There's a
do.
lot. There's a lot of things that are happening in the Marvel world, which we'll talk about. But mainly, I wanted to see what your thoughts were on what could potentially be coming up. As there's news that that we just got that just dropped on us of a project being dropped, but currently slated for the next 2 years. We got Brave New World, Captain America Brave New World coming out February 14th next year, 2025. Thunderbolts, May 2nd, 2025. Doomsday, Avengers Doomsday, May 1st, 2026. And Avengers Secret Wars, May 7th, 2027. So, Ooch, with these looming dates, what do you think could be coming? I have some speculation, but I want to hear your thoughts first.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is Spider-Man 4.
Oh, absolutely.
We
Yeah.
know, just off of there was like a recent clip. I think it was the Jimmy Kimmel show where Tom Holland was on. If I'm even getting my talk shows right, I don't watch a
Right.
lot of talk shows or any at all really. And he asked him, like, "Are we getting Spider-Man 4?"
Mhm.
And Tom was like, yes. And everyone's like, he's like, oh, and everyone was happy, of course, in that audience of, and like, who wouldn't be. It's been a movie that's obviously been speculated for quite some time now, ever
Right.
since No Way Home dropped. So we've been waiting to see like what's gonna happen next. We know that there's been some dispute between Marvel Studios and Sony as to what kind of direction they want to take,
Yes.
Tom Holland's Spider-Man and his character, what direction, like how the film's gonna go and whatnot.
Mhm.
And it seemed like Sony won, but in a weird way, I think it kind of all worked out in hindsight, because when we now interject RDJ, Doctor Doom, into the plans,
And you got theories. You
exactly. So I'm okay with Sony winning, quote unquote, I guess in this case. It's not a bad thing. Because, obviously, like for those that may not know, or, you don't really follow a lot of the online talk and what people may want or don't want. A lot of fans wanted to see a street level Spider-Man movie.
very
Granted,
badly.
we are some of those folks as well,
Yeah.
because this version of Spider-Man really hasn't been that friendly neighborhood like that much.
Right.
He kind of was in Homecoming, and but then like he had Iron Man, like, and
Right.
that's one of those things that it's like a weird joke. I don't know if it's like, if you want to call it a joke or if this is like something that people like really do, but I've heard the term Iron Man Jr. for this version
Yes.
of Spider-Man a lot.
I've heard a lot of people say that. Yeah.
Right. So it's like, man, that's kind of whack, because I look at Tom Holland Spider-Man. I love his character. I love what he's brought to the table. Fresh take on Peter Parker and, the character and whatnot. I mean, given the story and the context of everything that's been going on in the MCU, but I digress because, I'm not going to get into all of that
Yeah.
anyway.
Okay.
So, like we wanted to see that progression, that build up, because No Way Home, almost, even though it was like a 20-year celebration, it also acted as like an origin story to Tom Spider-Man. And now with the fourth one, he's in New York City, he's on his own. No one
Completely
knows
on
who
his own.
exactly, like no one knows
Yeah.
who he is on top of that. So it's almost as if like he straight up has a fresh start to be who he wants and how he wants to do it. And, a lot of fan speculation with exactly who he could be intertwining with. You know, obviously there's Kingpin right there. He's running for mayor. There's Daredevil. That's obviously right there. Daredevil, Born Again, I think is what the new show's gonna
Yeah.
be called. You know, with Punisher involved and all that. And so, and that's also not limited to any of the other New York bound heroes that we already know exist. So it's like the potential, the possibilities are literally endless when it comes to that type of Spider-Man movie. But unfortunately, because of how well No Way Home did, and it is a Sony film for first and foremost, even though they have to work with Marvel Studios to produce it and all that kind of stuff in the
Hmm.
first place.
Hmm.
Um, it seemed like they won,
Yeah.
and like I said, it worked out because over on the Marvel Studios side of things, ever since July, they reintroduced Robert Downey Jr. back into the MCU, but not as Iron Man. At least, you know, I'm sure he's gonna. There has to be a scene where he's gonna be Iron Man one more time, but he is Doctor Doom now, right? Which is cool, and that, you know, that changes a lot. And so obviously, with Doomsday on the horizon, with Secret Wars on the horizon, it doesn't really make sense to try to interject some sort of street level friendly neighborhood Spider-Man movie when you have all
Right.
of this multiversal stuff that's still a part of, we are still, you know, people forget this, we are still in the multiversal saga, the
Right.
multiverse saga right now. So doing that in the middle of what's to come, and when we talk about when Spider-Man 4 will drop, that's a movie that may actually end up coming out after Doomsday and before Secret Wars.
It could be like how Captain Marvel was in between
Right.
Endgame or Infinity War and Endgame. But and I would love to see that, but I think for them to I feel like whether people liked it or not, Captain Marvel kind of worked in a way inverse to how you would like Spider-Man to be, where it was so disconnected from the story that it helped kind of like buffer, but still lead people to speculate about what Endgame was going to be. It was kind of like, okay, well, we can't do a story right now because we're in the middle of everybody getting snapped. So let's go
Right.
back to the 90s and see what's going on. I kind of wonder if Doomsday will throw us into like a near future scenario and then have the Spider-Man movie almost lead us into it,
Yeah.
being the introduction of the black suit being leading us into Secret Wars after Doomsday. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
that way it's more of like a Doomsday happens, we're like, "Well, how the fuck did we get here?" Spider-Man happens, it leads into that with all the chaos that it's gonna bring. Because
Exactly.
obviously, I believe Tom said something like, "It's gonna be absolutely insane."
Yeah. And I think because, you know, Avengers Doomsday is an Avengers film, which um would lead a lot of fans to believe that you're going to see a lot of the cast that the MCU has introduced, a lot of the big heavy hitters, characters that you would obviously expect to see. So like
Mhm.
again, like Avengers titled films, you're safe to bet that you're going to see a lot of characters. It's not
Yeah,
just going to be like a couple. You're going to see a
right.
lot.
And there's a lot of people we haven't seen in a long time that are gonna be appearing in this too.
So I'm pretty sure that Spider-Man will be in Doomsday as well, which would be a nice little layup because from like you're saying what I'm saying, from whatever happens out of Doomsday, that's gonna just bleed right into Spider-Man 4.
Yeah,
And so again, like I said, there's really no room, and it would not make sense to do some sort of street level Spider-Man film in the midst of all this chaos that's about to happen, especially with
right.
the rumors that like, yo, King Thanos is coming back.
Oh my
Doom
gosh.
Doom is making up his own Dark Avengers. Like he's about to make his own team of villains that we've already seen in the past. Like the actor who did Ultron is gonna come in here. Like, there's a lot on the table. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, guys, but I think, like I keep saying, it all worked out for the best because by the time Secret Wars is done and we get this little soft reboot because that's what
That's what's
happens to
gonna
Secret
happen. Yeah,
Wars.
that's
Like
what's gonna
everything's
happen.
gonna blow up and everything's gonna be as if it was all one and mutants and everything
Yeah.
like that, right? Like all under one umbrella. Once the mutant saga starts up, that is when we will see a street level Spider-Man movie. And guess what? We're gonna have hella characters to intertwine with, not just with Daredevil, Kingpin, because just like in the Amazing Spider-Man cartoon, that motherfucker is teaming up with
Team
everybody.
literally everyone. Everyone that's ever stepped foot in New York, Spider-Man teamed up with.
Like you can name so many different characters, and guess what? X-Men as a team is one of those,
Yep.
and it
Fantastic
happens.
Four,
Yup,
Daredevil,
Blade,
Blade, Avengers.
like
Yeah,
the list goes on and on. He even had his own Spider Verse in there,
it's
which
true.
is crazy.
It's true. So,
Yeah.
so we're thinking what? Spider-Man 4 gonna be in between Doomsday and Secret Wars?
Right.
So what do you think is coming right after? Because we have 3 movies in 1 year. Do you think they're gonna set up, um, the X-Men in those movies? Do you think well, I'll say this. Percent chance of us getting X-Men in Secret Wars, probably like
Oh,
100%, right? Easy.
100%.
Gotta be. Okay. Chance of us getting an X-Men movie before Secret Wars. I feel
I
like
was
probably pretty low.
Yeah, I would say like 1% just to make it
Yeah.
very clear that I don't think we're getting a true X-Men film until after Secret Wars is
Yeah.
done.
So that's why I'm thinking like they have these dates slated um for whatever projects are going to come out. I have a few ideas or a few things that I'm thinking.
Mhm.
First one being the very first X-Men movie is going to be what we get right after Secret Wars, right? Whatever it is, if it's X-Men team movie, not just like a Wolverine or a Cyclops or something movie. It'll be the first X-Men movie back or the first X-Men movie in can you consider Deadpool 3 an X-Men movie? To be
I
seen.
mean,
It kind of
yeah.
is. Yeah, the X-Men are in the movie.
Bro, he
They're both
was
X-Men.
he was all about the X-Men in all of his
It's true.
movies.
X-Force. So,
Yeah.
all
Can't
right, so the
forget.
second X-Men movie in the MCU will most likely be in that 2028 slate. Another movie I wanna see right away is Shang-Chi 2 because we've been
Facts.
high on the Shang-Chi train,
Yes.
about getting some representation back for the boy, but, I mean,
Yeah.
we will probably see him heavy in Doomsday and Secret Wars. I would imagine. Him and
I
Wong
would
be
hope
cooking
so.
up in the karaoke room, and they also be cooking up hopefully in the gym, getting this
Mm,
boy ready for who knows what's about to come.
mm.
Another pick I've seen people really want to see is a actual Hulk movie, whether it's World War Hulk, whether it's whatever, even if they adapt the new storyline that's been coming out for Immortal Hulk or the
Oh, the new
Incredible
Incredible
Hulk,
Hulk.
yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Incredible Hulk line would be really cool. But I know World War Hulk, we kind of saw shades of it with Ragnarok. I wouldn't count it. We need a titular Hulk movie. It's been what almost 20 years since we got one,
Too long,
so
bro.
way
Too
too long.
long.
And then the other thing that people want to see, which we can talk about now, is Blade actually getting its movie. Poor Mahershala, dude. He is great. Mahershala is awesome. He deserves better. Um, he'll get his bag one day in some capacity. But as far as we know, this week, as of the recording of this video, uh, Blade is shelved indefinitely at this point. Yeah,
Well,
it was a good
I
run, boys.
okay. So since we brought it up now, I
Yeah.
guess it's a good time to just chat about it for a second because I feel like this has been a long time coming as far as this shelf indefinite situation that
Hmm.
it's in again.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure the higher ups at Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige included, I'm pretty sure they were in the know as far as, yeah, like Blade's not moving anywhere right now. And the fact, and this is how you know that I'm right, because look at Deadpool Wolverine. What happened in that movie? They got the original Blade
Mr. Blade himself.
and approved a very specific line that when we heard this line, okay, I looked over at Crystal, she looked over at me as if we just heard someone say some sort of insult, because that was something that I don't think anyone was expecting.
No,
Even
absolutely
with
not.
like we were guessing the Human Torch was gonna come back. We were obviously guessing Blade and Elektra. Like we had all those predictions, but we were not expecting for Blade to say there's only one Blade, and there's only ever gonna be one Blade.
It
The
cursed.
hands are up.
It cursed. I don't know if it was a curse, if it was a calling his shot, like Babe Ruth style, like I'm about to kill all future Blade projects, but whatever it was, man, it was the nail in the coffin for that project easily. And I remember obviously went with my fiance, doesn't really know much about Marvel, but when we were there, you could audibly hear everyone just
Right?
like,
That's what I'm
"Are you
saying.
kidding me?" He just said that, especially it's one of those, like, if you know moments,
Yeah,
but,
and that's what it was.
and it's sad that it's kinda come to fruition 'cause, Mahershala was about to be cooking, but I wonder, I wonder if they're waiting for the Blade game to drop to see what the temperature is for Blade.
That's
'Cause
a
I'll
good.
tell you, like, we all want Blade, and I think I can speak for 99% of the Marvel fan base that we want a new Blade movie after they cooked so hard, when we were young that it's prime time for another one, right?
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
That's a good like take though, because some of the I've been listening to, what was it, Screen Crush.
Mhm.
They did a
They're great.
video talking about the whole Blaze situation as well. And no one that was on that video said what you said, where it's like I wonder, like, if they if in wondering if they're trying to see the true engagement and response that the game gets. That's an
Yeah.
interesting way to look at it. Personally, even though I like that idea, I don't think that's gonna matter.
Oh, absolutely not. No.
I really don't think
No.
that's gonna make a difference because I'm sure it'll do well enough. However, so long as the game plays fine and it reviews well, then okay. But like if it for whatever reason does terribly, then obviously that's not gonna help.
Right.
Because then you know how people just love to dogpile and they're just like,
Yes.
"Oh man, they're not doing Blade and now the game sucks." Like I guess Blade is just done
Yeah.
unless it's Wesley Snipes, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know, like I I don't know. I mean, even when you go back and you remember how Mahershala was literally already featured in a movie. Like we heard
Yeah.
his voice in
Is it
Eternals at that end credit scene.
Mhm, mhm.
And it was very unclear what that all meant because obviously that was setting up like the Black Knight. But even there was some like interview where with that actor who played that character.
Kit Harington.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he even said, he was like, yeah, like this was not meant to be treated as if I'm about to be in his movie because he doesn't even know what the fuck's gonna happen. I'm just
Right.
like, okay, well, that's a very, very big red flag right there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I honestly, I truly don't know. With everything that we do know, I mean, obviously the Blade game is coming up. The miscommunication with that scene that we just talked about, the fact that Wesley Snipes was approved to say what he said
Mhm.
in the Deadpool Wolverine film. Like you gotta understand, these scripts get greenlit. They
Yeah.
get looked over by everybody.
Kevin reads it. Kevin allowed it.
Exactly. And they approved, there's interviews out there with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman and the I forget the director's name,
Yeah.
but the three of them were literally they literally confirmed for everyone that like they were surprised that Disney allowed most of what happened in that movie.
Mhm.
So that already tells you right then and there, there's mad people that already in the know. They're like, oh yeah, they want Blade to say, they want Wesley Snipes Blade to say this. Oh yeah, sure. Because at that point they already knew that Blade was not moving. Like Mahershala
Right.
Ali's Blade was not moving, and that's crazy because this goes back. That's how
Yeah,
far
this
along.
Deadpool 3's been in development for a while now, so for them to even know that, it's not like they're doing reshoots for a singular joke, right? Like,
No.
yeah, this has been planned.
So and so I guess the next question, I guess I'll throw it to you,
Mm,
is like if the Blade solo film is shelved,
mhm.
does that mean that Mahershala Ali's Blade
Oh, the
is
character itself.
also shelved, or will we get to see his ass at some point getting involved in Secret Wars?
That would be really nice to get him again, uh, especially because he didn't even get a chance, you know? Like, we heard it we didn't even see his face, I believe. I'm pretty sure we
No,
just heard his voice
just the
in the end credits
voice.
scene.
That's
So
it.
to get him even in Secret Wars, maybe like a cool Midnight Suns project, you know, even like just having him in some capacity
Yeah,
in the universe, I think would not only be great for us Blade fans, our stock would go bananas, but it would be great just for one, representation in the MCU of of people of color. Two, representation of vampires in the MCU. We don't have any, so that'd be great. And it would just be it would just be great to have that kind of a like a hack and slash esque story again, where it's just like a dude on a mission to kill vampires. You know,
easy.
yeah, we need the Daywalker back, um, just to bring in a different mix into Marvel, like back in the day, like back, you know, in the early 2000s, we had just a mix of all different styles of stories being told with Blade and the Fantastic Four and X-Men and Spider-Man and Hulk. It's like they're all playing in the same sandbox, but they all kind of had their own style. Like when you look at I don't know, well, you watched it recently, the first Hulk movie with Eric Bana. The way that it was cut was like a comic book movie. Like, it was really interesting just how, like, they would have, like, the panel slide in, kinda cool, fun, crazy stuff. A lot of Marvel movies as of late have been kinda, like, homogenous. I don't know if you've seen it where it's, like, a lot of the color grading is gone. Everything's just kinda, like, gray and dreary, and it's all kinda, like, the same very much the same Marvel style, right? There hasn't been, like, a lot of
Mm.
flavor thrown in, um, with the exception of my favorite movie, but I'm also that's just me. Multiverse of Madness, love it. But, it's like I would love to have another movie come out with a character like Blade that can really inject some life and some energy into the MCU. But that being said, I don't think I answered your question. Yes, bring him into Secret Wars, bring him
There
into
you
another
go.
project. We need to see Blade in any capacity would be great. Like, even if I want Mahershala, you know, like Wesley Snipes had his time. Do I want a Wesley Snipes Blade 4? Abso-fucking-lutely. Yes, I do. But we just I think what oh gosh, what's his name? I'll cut this out so I don't look like a fucking idiot.
Hmm.
The Whistler. The guy who played the Whistler just passed away not that long ago, I believe.
Mm.
From Blade 1 2. So
Rest in
it would be
peace.
tough not having the Whistler in the movies. However, having a Blade 4 would be great, but having just a Blade 1 with Mahershala would be fantastic. But put him in whatever fucking project. I don't care. Put him in
I
Daredevil.
I really do. Okay. I would first of all, I would love to see, just to answer my own question, I would obviously love to see this new Blade
Mhm.
because like you said, he deserves this time to shine.
Yeah, Mahershala in the glasses and black trench coat would look so sick, and a sword. Like, fucking give it to me.
Now, okay, now here's a side question.
Alright.
How would you react if Wesley Snipes pulled up and there was no Mahershala?
I'm fine. I'm good. I'm okay. I think what I
Yo.
want is Blade, right? Whether it's
Yeah.
Mahershala, whether it's Wesley. Wesley's just iconic. Like he's kind of like he's like RDJ as Iron Man. He
So
Wesley Snipes is Blade.
I will say this though, all all jokes aside, because like imagine if he pulls up, he's like we're in the multiverse saga, so
Yeah.
you'd expect to see variants, right?
Anyone
and he's
else?
the only Blade.
He's the constant. It's only Wesley Snipes, and there's like 20 of them, and then they're all Wesley Snipes.
and he literally says again, like I said, there's only one. And I would actually be like, okay, I guess
Yeah,
they
sure.
canceled this man. Like, what did he
Yeah,
do? Like
right.
I'm waiting for some TMZ report to come out now that like Mahershala Ali was on the same shit as what's his face, Kang.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, right. Yeah, Jonathan Majors.
yeah, like
No.
him, he conspired with Jonathan Majors. Now we have an IRL situation on our hands, right? So like at that point, that would be like, okay, like what the fuck did he do?
Yeah, what happened?
But realistically, what I would love to see happen, again, multiverse saga, I would love for both of them to be in it, to have a moment together where it's like they have a face off or their backs are turned and they
Blade X Blade.
and
Yes.
they like back into each other and they like eye each other down, and then Wesley Snipes they have a moment where it looks like that, like the choreography plays out, so it looks like they're trying to fight each other, but it ends up they're like hacking and slashing like everyone around them, and then like through this fight, Wesley Snipes' Blade essentially not passes the torch, but he passes approval, and he goes, "I thought I was the only one, but it looks like
Oh,
we're in good hands," or some shit like that. That would be so cool.
you don't always cook, Ooch, but you're cooking right now. That would go nuts.
Come on, man. Put me
would-
in the writing
oh.
booth. Come on. This is not
Yeah.
hard. Everybody
It
can write a
writes it.
Blade movie.
This is true. Check. First thing, Blade. Check. Number 2, kills vampires. Check. That's it. That's all you need.
That's what people
So you-
want to see.
Or more club scenes where blood comes out of the sprinklers would be cool, but I don't know. I don't know if people are too sensitive for that.
Hey
now,
man,
but
listen, Deadpool Wolverine opened Disney up to rated R shit.
it's true.
So
Yeah,
they
I
got
heard
their feet wet.
Frozen 4 is gonna be rated R though.
What happened to the third one?
There's a third one. Oh wait, no, they announced Frozen 3 at D23, and
Oh,
then they announced Frozen 4 right afterwards. Yeah,
Nah.
we'll see.
What do they think this is? Avengers? Come
Yeah.
on. We could do that shit.
2 Frozen, 2 Furious.
All right.